deputy that was abducted in Olathe. I don't know who sent it to me. Olathe, Kansas, a Kansas Sheriff's Department says it's investigating after one of its deputies was kidnapped and sexually assaulted. Johnson County Sheriff's Department says the deputy was abducted late Friday from a parking lot as she headed into work at the detention center in Olathe. It said the deputy, who has been with the department for about 6 months, did not know her abductors and was not in uniform at the time. The department says the deputy was released about 2 hours later in Lee's Summit, Missouri. The Kansas City Star reports that the department on Sunday released a video of the car believed to be used in the abduction, and the authorities want to question the 2 men who may have been in the car.
Okay.
That was on WBAY, so apparently that was on the local
news. Oh, it was local news?
And I missed it.
Local news must have been fucking
kind of a big deal, huh?
Well, but they've been doing... There was another story, I don't know if you heard, the 2 deputies that were shot by the guy who was targeting the police.
Yep.
One of them was 2 months away from it, was going to retire in December. The other one was back after giving birth.
Oh, that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
No, that was last week.
Yeah,
there's actually been a whole bunch of policemen that have been murdered in the last...
And that's not cool either. As critical as I am of the police, we don't need to... I'm also critical of people who are violent against the police.
And then the 3 cops that got their ass beat by one dude?
I have another story here about, and this is another somewhat related problem, but it's a huge problem. They're referring to it as the Ferguson effect. About a cop who got... I don't know what happened to him because the story's still pulling up. But he was afraid to draw his weapon because...
Yeah, that's the one where the 3 cops...
savagely beaten because he didn't draw his gun for fear of the media uproar. It happened in Chicago. Chicago police officer was savagely beaten at a car accident scene this week after not drawing her gun on her attacker, even though she feared for her life because she was afraid of the media attention that would come if she shot him, the police chief said Thursday. A 17-year veteran of the force knew she should shoot the attacker but hesitated because she didn't want her family or the department to go through the scrutiny for the next day in National Park. This is the problem.
Yeah, that is a fucking problem.
Well, this is one of the reasons that I was...
Did it say it was one attacker?
It was multiple,
I
believe. That's one of the reasons that I have been arguing for things like body cams and accountability.
Well, yeah, because if it was like...
Because the police can't be afraid to do their job either.
Yeah.
And so that's why we need to be able to identify clearly whether it was right or wrong.
Yeah. Body cameras are fucking awesome.
Body cameras are amazing. They protect everyone.
Yes, exactly. They protect the possible person who gets shot, if they get shot, and it protects the shooter. It protects everybody who's in view of the camera.
It protects everyone in the instance. And that's... But this type of thing should not happen.
No, that shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
Especially you said she was a 17-year veteran or something like that.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, that shouldn't happen. Someone with that much experience should not.
Yeah, one of those cops too got it bad. Like I forgot what it was. They got their heads like smashed repeatedly into the ground.
Where was that?
I think that's the one that was afraid to pull their gun.
Same one.
You can be against abuses of police power and also be against people attacking the police.
Yeah. I
happen to be both.
Because, once again, you can't deal in absolutes. There are some shitty cops.
Right.
But they're not all shitty.
Well, and they are doing a hard job.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I know I don't have the chance of getting... Well, I do, but it's very much lower of being shot when I'm on the job versus if I was a cop or a security guard. Any person that works around a gun.
The thing is, that shit can't happen. It's not acceptable. And it makes the problem fucking worse.
It makes it worse, yeah.
Because here's the thing.
You put all these other cops on edge now.
Right. So if the people who are doing that, remember when we asked the question earlier, should the death penalty be available for some crimes? Yes, it should.
Yep.
And it should be available for people who attack other people in uniform who are... whether they're paramedics or firefighters or police officers or military personnel or goddamn mailmen, if you're attacking somebody doing their job, because they're doing their job,
Yeah.
because of what they stand for.
Do you believe that policemen should be a protected class then?
No.
How is that different than what you're saying?
I was going to say, weren't you just making an argument?
You were just making an argument to protect them.
Well, I said anybody in uniform doing their job.
Yes.
So technically that applies to the guy at Best Buy too.
So you're saying if you're attacking someone in uniform because of the uniform for doing that, that should be a hate crime.
Right. My argument with the my argument for the not protected class thing with the police.
Yeah.
With the hate. Well, first off, I think hate crime laws are bullshit.
Yes, they are.
Okay, but my argument there isn't that they're singling the police. Actually, it is that they're singling the police out. And that's wrong.
So you're saying if it was broader and it was...
If it encompassed... If you're going to protect emergency workers, if you came out and said, look, we have a class of people, police officers, paramedics, EMTs, firefighters, whose job it is to protect and take care of the rest of us when shit goes completely south. Mm-hmm. These are the people we call on to help, and they all need to be protected. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay, but if you single
my
out the
issue
police...
is saying when the state of Wisconsin said the police specifically need protection.
Okay.
Because when those police officers get shot, you know who else shows up on the scene?
Well, everybody else, yeah.
And those people deserve protection too. My argument there isn't that they're making the police a protected class. It's that they're only making the police a protected class.
Okay.
And there the problem is you're attacking a group of... And I don't think in that case, because that law specifically said if you were attacking police because they were police, I don't give a shit why you attacked a cop or a firefighter or an EMT. If it wasn't in self-defense,
okay, there you go.
If you weren't trying to save your life or the life of someone else from an unjust act, because if you're a drug dealer, you're not claiming self-fucking defense because you shot a cop.
Well,
fuck you.
Yeah.
But if you're not stopping a person who has abused their authority, and I don't give a shit in that case if it's a firefighter who's taking an axe to your door when your house isn't on fire, or if it's a police officer who's drawing a shotgun on you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they deserve protection because of the job they do. Okay. I get that. But then when you single out police, what you're saying then is these other people who also arrive on the scene of an emergency. If you dial 911, they will dispatch the police, the fire, and the ambulance.
They throw as much at it as they can.
Because they don't know what the fuck is wrong.
Yeah.
And all of them deserve to be protected. Even if, regardless of why you shot at them, because the only viable answer is that person overstepped their authority and I was protecting myself or my family. And that's for a court to decide. Mm-hmm. At that point, it's a court issue. And you should be in jail while the court decides that, because that's how that shit works. Wow. Because any rule that applies to... I have never said the police need that... all I have said is that the police have a standard that they need to be held to. Yeah. And I agree that it needs to be a stringent standard. That does not mean that the public doesn't have a standard of law that they have to adhere to either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called the law.
Right.
You said it. Yeah.
Right. There is a set standard in this case, using Pete's definition of standard, a minimum level of acceptable behavior.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. No, I give
I give all
five bucks. Yeah, I give $5 about that because it shows that it's a fucking problem when someone who's had that much experience on the job has a problem doing it. Like, that's your job is to, hey, you're getting charged. There's a violent criminal in front of you who is threatening your life. You shoot them. It's your job.
And the media, I understand that they're being afraid of the media.
I get why she was afraid. I understand. Explained it perfectly well, but she shouldn't have to be. It's a fucking problem.
The fault for that lies with, in this case, in my opinion, with the media. Because they always talk about, like, how much have you heard about the Freddie Gray trials afterwards?
Yeah.
I've hunted it down because I was curious.
Well, because we talked about it so much. But other than that, they stopped covering it. It doesn't matter anymore now.
Yeah, because they're finding them all
They're all finding him innocent.
Because they dropped the first two.
They found the first two innocent, and then they dropped the rest.
Well, the first two were found not guilty.
Well, first one was a mistrial, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right. It was a mistrial.
First one was a mistrial, and then they'll get them. They'll get him back after they go and convict everybody else.
And then the next one came up, and they found him innocent.
Right.
And then
not guilty.
No. Sorry, not guilty.
Because the courts don't find anybody innocent.
Yes, they're innocent until proven guilty, so they're not guilty. Gotcha. But yeah, and then they just dropped all.
But the news didn't cover that.
No, because it's not a news story anymore.
The news talked about.
They got everyone riled up. They got their fucking pressure frenzy news, and then after that, people are like,
Right. We haven't heard shit about the guy shot in Falcon Heights, other than the fact that he was shot, and what a wonderful person he was. We don't know shit about the investigation that happened.
I don't even know what fucking story that is.
That's the guy who had the concealed gun, notified the cop he had this concealed gun.
Oh, and then he shot him in his car.
The cop shot him in the car in front of his kid.
Yeah.
We heard about it. We heard about all those details of the crime. We heard there was an ongoing investigation.
We haven't heard shit since.
We haven't heard shit since. Have we heard anything about, there have been 3 cops in the last year that I'm aware of that were actually charged with manslaughter or some level of murder after a police shooting that was deemed unjustified by the internal investigation? How much of that have you heard on the news?
No. You don't know that they've gone to trial yet, though, either.
We don't know that they've gone to trial, but the fact that they've been charged in and of itself should be newsworthy when you reported the hell out of the shooting. One was the guy where they reported the minister, the father coming home from school, the lady cop who shot him, and the other guy drew the taser.
Oh, yeah.
And she said he was reaching through the window, and the video shows the windows up.
The one where we were talking about she should have used a taser, but she legally couldn't because of their standards.
Or she should have let the other guy shoot if they needed to, or whatever.
Yeah.
That we believe she shot prematurely based on the evidence we saw.
Yeah, I remember that story. I remember hearing the initial story.
That lady was charged with manslaughter.
Oh, she was?
Yes. She was fired from her job and she was charged with manslaughter.
Yeah, why don't they report that?
Yeah.
Well, because
that's anymore.
Yeah,
but the incident was on the news.
That's also the end. Start calming the friends.
Exactly. That's the end of the story.
How about
that's the resolution?
How about we talked on the show about the Laquan McDonald thing?
Which one is he?
The guy who was walking with the cop said he lunged.
Yeah.
Loaded all the bullets.
Yeah, we saw that one.
And then they mysteriously the footage from the camera disappeared.
Or they wasn't running.
But the camera inside caught the cops fooling around with the thing.
Yeah.
That cop was indicted. Well, he surrendered himself after a year. They charged him with murder. We haven't heard shit about that trial.
Once again, if the trial's even happened yet.
Well,
but we should know that there's a trial set.
Right.
There is going to be a trial.
If you're going to cover the first part of it, you have to cover the follow-up.
Yeah, they don't do follow-up, no.
Well, you should.
No, that's not what news is anymore.
Because that's what creates this shit.
Yes, I agree.
Because you get the public riled up, and you don't... I look like I know that guy, this trial hasn't come up yet, because I fucking look.
Okay.
Because I want to know, because
when it happens,
because I was outraged in the first place, and I want to follow up to see if the system works.
It's like reading the first 10 pages of the book. Not even 10. First, 10, 15, maybe 20 pages.
It's like reading the back cover.
Chapter?
It's like reading the back cover, reading the jacket
no, there
excerpt.
You go. That's actually better.
And then not touching anything else.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a better description.
Much better description.
It's like watching the trailer.
You don't get to know the end, but you get
so where are you going with
all
that?
The fucking shit.
He gives many fucks.
I give 5 because the media has caused this problem.
I think I gave 5. I think we stopped at me and we started.
Yeah, I'm gonna give 5 on that because this is creating ridiculous chain reactions that people do not have any idea what they're getting themselves into.
Well, people are too stupid to realize.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I'll give 5 on that.
Because all your friends are doing it?
No, but it's because it's your problem is that news is entertainment now, and you're confusing. Because you're older, and you remember.
When news was news?
No, when news was journalism. Okay? And there were journalists.
Yeah.
And now there are just entertainment people.
They call themselves journalists, but
they're not. Because
they're entertainers.
Right.
So are you saying you're worried about the worrying fusion of entertainment and information?
No, it's already there.
We're already
just
at that
people
point.
are too
stupid
programmed.
to realize.
They're just programmed to understand what is going on, and they won't do anything about it because that's what they're programmed to do.
Well, because for some of them, that's all the news they've ever gotten. And for some that haven't just only gotten that news, it's most of the news they've ever gotten. It's been presented to them in that way.
So that's why I give it a 5. And it's, I mean, you shouldn't, I mean, attacking the people that are supposed to protect you, is...
That's a big deal.
Worse than someone that's not.
And it detracts horribly from any realistic... There is no way to solve any systemic problem this way. This is counterproductive to the idea of trying to solve any type of systemic problem within a police force.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but they're not trying to solve the problem.
Well, but I want to solve the problem, and this is fucking it up.
If you like what you just saw, why not check out our last episode? Or subscribe, or like, or comment. Do something.